to introduce this next speaker to you. Her name is Reverend Kiehl Friedman. So I got connected with Andy through a common book coach. We share the same book coach because we're both writers. And our book coach told me about this book. When I told her about psychedelics that I was doing, she said, "Oh, you need to read this book." And so I downloaded it to my Audible right away and started listening to Annie's voice speaking her story to me. And it just blew me away. The beauty of her writing, the beauty of her healing story. So I'm going to read this now and let her start speaking so you can hear her voice too. Kiehl Friedman is a writer, an interfaith minister, and entrepreneur whose work bridges spirituality, communication, and the emerging field of psychedelic healing. A passionate advocate for safe, ethical, and transformative use of psychedelics, and co-founded the Psychedelic Communications Hub in 2022, an innovative initiative dedicated to educating the public about the therapeutic potential, cultural context, and risks of psychedelic use. Anne's career spans multiple sectors, blending academic rigor with deep spiritual inquiry. She graduated with honors from Stanford University, earned her MBA from ESADE University in Spain, and completed seminary training at the Berkeley Chaplaincy Institute, where her studies included the use of sacred plants and psychedelic sacraments in interfaith spiritual care. Anne's work centers on promoting holistic well-being, integration support, and responsible storytelling within the psychedelic space. Through writing, teaching, and advocacy, she fosters greater understanding of how these powerful tools can support healing and personal growth. Her first book, Higher Love, which you all need a copy of, and you need to get it signed, explores these themes with heart and clarity, continuing her mission to bring insight, compassion, and nuance to the conversation around psychedelics. Let's all give a warm welcome to Reverend Anne Kiehl.
I want to start with thank you. Thank you, the organizers. Thank you, Beth. Thank you, Jessica. Thank you, Kendra, for your incredible hospitality. Thank you to these panelists. I've already learned so much. Thank you to the volunteers, and thank you all for coming. This would be incredibly disappointing without you. So, I'm Annie Kiehl Friedman. I am an author, a mental health advocate, and an interfaith minister. I'm here to talk about faith, healing, and psychedelics because I wrote a book on them. I wrote Higher Love, a psychedelic travel memoir of heartbreak and healing, to help people not hurt themselves the way that I did, and to share the lessons that I learned through the reverent use of psychedelics that helped me heal. I've struggled with self-worth, depression, anxiety, loneliness, wanting a connection with a higher power that felt real and nourishing, body image issues. As Taryn said, I came to the psychedelics for the depression and anxiety and stayed for the God. Though the specifics are different, I think a lot about those struggles are universal. There are so many global crises going on right now, and I think they stem from the same root. People in toxic relationship with themselves, externalizing that hurt onto others. You may have heard the term hurt people hurt people. I think that's true. We're seeing a lot of hurt people hurting people. And I think what's inside comes out. So when we are filled with inadequacy, self-doubt, self-hatred, there is no way not to leak that out onto others. One of my favorite poets, Nayyirah Waid, put it this way: there's you and you. This is a relationship. This is the most important relationship. I'm also incredibly nervous, so if I start speaking really quickly, raise your hand and I'll use that as a sign to slow down. No. God, what an incredible group. I'm so grateful for you already. I'm going to tell you some stories about how I learned what I learned. And if you want more, you should buy the book. I'm going to talk a lot about love, specifically self-love. I'm going to use the term love as synonymous with faith and healing and God. I believe, and my way into God as a former devout atheist was through love and through seeing them as synonymous. And when I don't know what God is, I still know what love is. And that's been an affirming direction in my life. I also think I'm on solid theological ground, talking about love and God as being interchangeable. John 4:16 says God is love. One of the names of Allah translates to the most loving or the loving one. And the Jewish commandment of tikkun olam, the commitment to repair the world, I think is love in action. Also interchangeably with God, I will be using source, universe, creator and creatrix, and the grandmother. When I use God, if that is triggering to you or any of those words, I invite you to substitute whatever you find, whatever you are most comfortable with to refer to a source of ultimate wisdom and goodness. The title of this talk comes from Hebrews 11:1, which says, "Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen." This verse teaches us that things don't have to be seen to be real, that some of the most powerful animating forces in life are invisible. I think psychedelics teach us the same thing, often by revealing what we cannot see. The first time I glimpsed the power of psychedelics to reveal the unseen forces, I was in Amsterdam. I was in Amsterdam with my dad. He invited me to join him there. I'd never been. And I said yes, because I had nothing else to do, because I was in a pretty deep depression. About 6 months before, I had split up, or my ex-fiance had split up with me, and I'd quit my PhD program. So the two pillars around which I'd been building my life crumbled simultaneously. And I saw them both as proof that all of my worst fears about myself were valid and true. That if somebody really got to know me, they wouldn't love me. So my dad invites me on this trip. I say yes. And we end up doing what was intended as recreational magic mushrooms together. A note on recreational also being medicinal. When you have been depressed, laughter, giggling, lightness, the experience of joy is the deepest, most powerful medicine. So, couple hours of giggling, walking around the city, more giggling, was worth the price of admission. What I didn't expect was when we came back to the hotel, it had been a few hours, so I figured the experience was over. I was lying on the couch, and suddenly I had the most vivid vision of my ex. I saw him like he was there in the room. I saw him exactly like the last time I'd seen him, worn Levi's, blue American Apparel t-shirt, kind of an indifferent smirk. And I saw him, he was like the world was a map, and he was on the dot indicating Washington, D.C. And then I saw me on the dot indicating Amsterdam, also vividly, wearing exactly what I was wearing on the couch. And I saw a thick blue ribbon sprout from my forehead, and then one from my heart, and then one from right below my belly button. And my experience, some of my experiences with psychedelics have been like this, that there is a vision and there is imparted knowledge. You see something and you know something deeply. And I saw those ribbons sprout, and I saw them race across the ocean, tie themselves in a bow, and fall into his hand. And I knew that each of those ribbons represented my power, that I was still thinking about him, that when I got dressed that morning, I put on a dress he approved of, the boots he liked. I didn't wear earrings because he didn't like earrings. So even 6 months after the fact, when I was trying to move on, I was still thinking about him. And I was still sending him my love. And I was still thinking of him as owning my sexuality, my sexuality. I was thinking of me as his. And I watched those ribbons fall into his hand, and I watched him not even acknowledge them. Like the precious, precious gift they were. Like I wasn't giving him my life force, and got pissed. Immediately pissed, prideful. It's like, oh, this cannot continue. I cannot allow this to stand. And at that moment of rage, a pair of giant scissors appeared in my hands. Like the type you'd find at a ribbon cutting, except perilously sharp, like dangerously sharp. And I immediately knew what to do, and I cut the ribbon, and then cut the ribbon, and then cut the ribbon. And as soon as I cut them, they regrew. And I knew at this point I was in it for the long haul. So I kept cutting. And the faster I cut, the faster they grew. So I slowed down and got meditative about it, started counting them, got to 20, got to 50, got to 80, realized that if I kept counting them, they would keep regrowing, stopped counting, slowed down, and thought very intentionally with each cut, no, I'm taking this back. I'm taking my power back. Now, went to sleep, woke up the next morning feeling the freest and lightest I had felt in months, if not ever. Which was awesome, except free but empty. All that space that he was taking up was still there. After having glimpsed the potential of psychedelics to connect me to universal wisdom, I was eager to go back and have ayahuasca fix me, because I'd done all the reading, and it introduces you to God, and it's 10 years of therapy in an hour, and like this was going to be it. So I asked a trusted friend and mentor if she could connect me with a ceremony, and she did. And I prepared for this like you would a boxer in a prize fight. Like I was ready. I was ready to meet God, but like more ready to go through hell. I read a bunch of accounts of ayahuasca, read one of a woman who sounded very similar to me. She also felt deeply inadequate, wanted to be fixed, blah, 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 blah. Her experience was vomiting up what felt like a stream of fire, and then looking at her purge bucket afterward and seeing literal snakes. I wanted to puke snakes. That, to me, would have been the be-all and end-all. Like, proof that I had purged everything I needed to purge, that I was fixed and lovable. So I go to this ayahuasca ceremony with 12 out of 10 hopes. And I'll skip through a lot of the details. This is chapter 10 if you want more of them. Take double the normal dose. Everybody else is like very apparently feeling the medicine, and I am not. I am sober as a judge, could have done my taxes if I needed to. And I am pissed and disappointed, crushed, more than disappointed. Feeling like, oh no, I'm so broken that I broke ayahuasca. I'm so broken that even it couldn't fix me. That this thing that that was so powerful wasn't strong enough to help me. And then I remembered one of the things that I read most often repeated in my research about ayahuasca, which is the grandmother gives you what you need, not what you want. And I wanted pain, no pain, no gain, right? Like I wanted to be put through it to prove that I was lovable. And what the grandmother gave me was nothing. That was the only thing I needed to be lovable. My only problem was I was withholding my love from myself. And that all I needed to heal was to apply self-love. That healing and self-love are interchangeable. And that any wounds and pain are arrows for where I need to apply love. That was great, but it wore off. Lasted for a while, lasted for months, but a couple years later, I needed a refresher. So I decided to return to what I considered the oracle at this point, and engaged in reverent ceremony with LSD. About an hour and a half into it, I was dancing naked. Don't remember making that choice, but remember it vividly because I caught sight of myself in a full-length mirror. Show of hands, has anybody heard the term acid face? Okay, so this is the reason you shouldn't look at yourself in the mirror when you're on acid. It distorts your features and you look like a monster. Seeing yourself full body naked, monstrous, was challenging, particularly to somebody with a history of eating disorder or disordered eating and body image issues. Seeing myself, I was immediately yanked out of bliss and into a very familiar self-hatred and self-condemnation. How could I let myself get like this? How could anybody love me like this? Just deep, deep shame. And I was falling hard and fast into what felt like an abyss and kind of had this thought of, I don't know how I'm ever going to get out of here. I don't know how I climb my way out of this. And at that same moment, I half felt, half saw this ocean of blue energy. And similar to the ribbons, I knew that this ocean was the source of souls. And I saw a stream of liquid, sapphire blue. If gemstones could flow like liquid and crystallize at will, this is what they would look like. I saw this stream separate from the ocean and stream through my head and into my body. And I knew at that moment that I was getting a glimpse of how souls incarnate. Again, this is pretty wild for a former devout atheist to be certain and grounded in what I was seeing and feeling and knowing. So that life force that animates all of us pinches off, and I see it covered in muscle and fat and mucus and all the things that make us human. And realize that there are at least two reasons we are infinitely worthy of our own love. One, the divine seed of everything life-affirming within us, and all of the weird idiosyncrasies that cover us. Both of those are inherently deserving of love. If we walked around seeing each other's souls They all look the same. Like, that's not actually very interesting, and we can all recognize each other as self. When encased in funny little human meat suits, there are more challenges. There's also more interesting there. The diversity in itself is interesting. What makes you different is what makes you lovable. I see it as my job as a minister and our job as humans to recognize, tend to, and honor the seed of divinity, as well as the weird humanness about us all. You need love. You, more than anyone else in the world, need and deserve your own love. And if you're thinking you don't, you need it double. Oh gosh. We're just gonna skip ahead to slide 7. Yeah, okay. There are millions of reasons, if not billions of reasons, you should love yourself, but I'm going to give you 4. First, it is freer. When we don't love ourselves, we are walking around doing a constant calculation of what am I allowed to show, to be accepted, to belong, to feel loved, and what must I hide. You're never going to be able to please everyone. So as long as you are making that calculation, your world gets smaller and smaller and smaller and more constrained. Buddhist monk Thich Nhat Hanh teaches us you must love yourself, you must love in such a way that the person you love feels free. That applies to yourself first. The second reason, it is safer. When we don't love ourselves, we walk around empty, looking to be filled. And that opens us up to people who will take advantage of it, to people who can't see us, who are fundamentally incapable of seeing and loving us, and it makes us vulnerable to them. Whereas if you are walking around full of yourself in the best possible way, it allows you to magnetize the people who see you, love you, and want to be with you. In the words of one of my favorite recently passed poets, Andrea Gibson, they're telling you to blend in like you've never seen how a blender works.
Yeah.
Third reason you deserve it. You were born. The universe doesn't make mistakes. Everyone deserves it. And if you're thinking yourself an exception, I'm so happy to tell you you're not that special. There are billions of people. You are not the one who doesn't deserve it. Finally, you deserve your own love because you know yourself better than anybody else. You know what you've been through. You deserve your own compassion and forgiveness and looking on yourself with soft eyes more than anybody else in the world. The final and potentially most important reason is the world needs it. I want you to think about whatever is going on right now that breaks your heart, whether it's personal or global. I can guarantee the problem there is not that there is too much love. We have pain exploding like volcanoes everywhere. Hurt people, that's what we're seeing. What we need is healed people, healing people. And as we discussed earlier, what's inside comes out. So you have to do it inside first so that you can heal the rest of what needs to be healed. So how? Start with whatever comes naturally to you. I made little postcards for reminders that say, how do I show my love? So I want you to remember the last time you fell in love. What did you do? What did that look like? How did you feel that? Think about people you love now and how you show your love to them. Personally, I'm a writer. I use words. I like to plan events. I like to think about what people would enjoy and plan special dates. I also go into like friendly stalker mode. I want to find out everything about the person, and I find none of it unlovely. So all the ways that you show love externally are the first ways you should be showing it to yourself. So for me, I've tried writing love letters, love emails, love notes to myself, planning special dates for myself, and then engaging in self-inquiry to find out more about myself so that I can love myself better. We teach people how to love us. Do not teach people to love you inadequately or insufficiently. Teach them to love you in a way that lets you blossom. A tip that has helped me a lot is to start small and increase slowly. So if you want to think about your self-love or emotional resilience or just kind of mood and affect on a scale of 1 to 10, if you're feeling particularly crappy at a 2 or a 3, don't try and slingshot yourself to an 8. That will only make you feel worse. So how can you kind of notch up just a little bit? And then once you've gained that ground, notch yourself up a little bit more. I'm going to give you 10 everyday ways to love yourself better. I was very intentional on calling these everyday ways to love yourself better, not easy ways to love yourself better, because when you are struggling, nothing comes easy. But these are hopefully tools that you can use on a regular basis that makes that muscle stronger. A note on the absence of psychedelics. These are incredibly powerful tools. For me, not every day. Certainly not in significant amounts. They also don't do the work for you. You need to keep doing it yourself. So these are the tools, some of the tools that I have relied on to integrate what I've learned on psychedelics and to make it more second nature. The first one, I think, is actually pretty easy. I found that whatever state I'm in, I can improve it by putting on the right song. Like, play the perfect song for your moment, and your emotional experience of that moment is suddenly better. Number 2, play pretend. Emphasis on both play and pretend. The emphasis on play in itself is healing and a great way of loving yourself. The pretend part of it comes in when I'm struggling to love myself. When I'm struggling to love myself for particular reasons, I imagine myself as somebody who loves those things. So if I'm struggling to love myself because I am loud and opinionated and controversial, I imagine what would somebody who loves loud and opinionated and controversial people think or say about why they love those people. And I often find myself convincing. I love loud and opinionated and controversial people because you always know where they stand. They are not milquetoast, and they're courageous and bold. Turn up pleasure is a kind of more expansive version of number 1. I think wherever you are, you can always take stock of your situation, how you're sitting, what you're looking at, how hydrated you are, and think, how can I make this slightly more pleasant for myself? Giving yourself pleasure and enjoyment is self-love. I often find that simply by changing my posture, I can be more self-loving, that I haven't taken a full deep breath in 45 minutes, that I'm sitting on my ankle in a weird way that's hurting. Like, those are easily changed. Number 4 is, for the scientifically minded of you, reticular activation. The reticular activating system is a system that exists in your brainstem that controls your attention. Whatever you focus on grows. One particularly challenging practice, if you're looking for a great way to strengthen your muscles, is to look for 5 new reasons to love yourself every day. When you start looking for them, you start seeing them. Number 5, think about what you don't think about. Our brains tend to have a negative default. So we worry about things, we think about what we don't like, and what might go wrong and what stresses us out. If you've never thought about it, chances are it's pretty good. Chances are you like it. If you've never thought about your arteries, chances are you've got great arteries. If you've never thought about your hair, chances are you've got great hair. So spend a moment doing kind of an audit of, what are things that other people worry about that I've never worried about, and appreciate. Appreciate what you take for granted. Go outside. Go for a walk. See what grows around you. Learn the plants' names. Move your body in whatever way your body moves that feels comfortable. The most polluted air we breathe is indoors. So get outside, or as the kids say, go touch grass. Number 7 is call a flattering mirror. Reach out to somebody who loves you, who sees you in a way that you wish you could see yourself. Do not text. It does not count. You have to hear the other person's voice. Audio notes are fine, but have somebody reflect to you the infinitely worthy person that you are. Eat something from the ground. Ground foods are grounding. Nourishing yourself is a great way of loving yourself. Feed yourself beauty. Read a poem. Take yourself on a self-guided architecture tour, noticing what you find beautiful. If you're an accordion fanatic, go to an accordion concert. Whatever you find lights you up, go seek it out. There's so many places that beauty goes unnoticed. Don't let yourself be one of them. 20 questions. Like I said about stalker mode, you can't love what you don't know. So engage in an intentional process of self-inquiry. Learn about yourself and the parts of yourself that you didn't know so that you can love yourself better. I'm going to read this part because I want to get it right. When used reverently, psychedelics call us into right relationship with ourselves, with our environment, with our transcendent nature as immortal souls. They broaden our consciousness and help us understand our sovereignty. They reveal our interconnectedness and dispel the illusion of separateness. We are not free until we can live comfortably in our own minds. What we need is a revolution of consciousness, realizing our inherent worth and expanding that love outward until it is all-encompassing. Psychedelics can be a powerful tool for that and should be accessible to all who need it. Being deserving of my love is a continuing journey, but the most healing of my life. Wherever you are on yours, I hope you feel me cheering you on. I hope you feel how fervently I believe that you are deserving of your own love. but I hope more that you fervently believe it. May we work together to build a freer, safer, more peaceful world within and outside of ourselves. I opened with a Nair Waid quote, and so I'll close with one. Your heart is the softest place on earth. Take care of it. Thank you, and amen.
You don't go anywhere. I have a few questions for you from the audience. How do you know when you love yourself? I think the question is, how do you know when you love yourself? How do you know when you get there?
Oh, I don't know that you. I don't know that you ever get there. Certainly not as, in my experience, I have not achieved a state of knowing that is unshakable. I think for me, it is a regular practice, and noticing when you are not loving yourself and trying to change that. To take a greater step into vulnerability here, I've been terrified about this. And like working on my speech and wrote it all out and was like, okay, I need to write it out and now I need to memorize it. And my anxiety was just ratcheting up and ratcheting up and ratcheting up. And I realized that all of that perfectionism was hiding my fundamental fear that I was not worthy to come up here and talk, that I didn't have anything to say and that nobody would want to listen. And I realized I'm on a fool's errand if I am going to preach about the importance of self-love and that you deserve your own love as I am internally blending myself. So this for me, like so many other lessons, is a spiral staircase of learning it, relearning it, being confronted by it again, realizing that I haven't learned it well enough or in this way, and relearning it. I think you know you're doing it when you feel calm, peaceful, and confident in your knowledge that you are okay. It is not a heady, ungrounded feeling of I'm the best person in the world or kind of unmitigated self-approval, but just that calm, quiet knowing that you're okay.
We have time for one more question. These are anonymous, but if you ask these questions, I encourage you to just check in with Annie or me later and just say hello and let us give you a hug. This is a beautiful question. Why do you think we stopped loving ourselves in the first place?
I don't know that we started. I don't. I think our childhoods teach us how to love ourselves. And I think there are maybe 4 people who have ever existed whose parents taught them perfectly. I think we are all, my mom is in the room, she does. I think we're all carrying epigenetic trauma and personal trauma. And I think those traumas dent us to differing degrees. And I also, there's a Rumi quote that I'm going to get close to right, which is, you did not come to earth to learn perfect love. You came to earth to learn messy human love. And I think that is super deeply true. That if we knew all this, what would the point of the 40, 80, 100 years we get on Earth be? And it would be pretty boring if we didn't have things to learn and grow and explore.